everyone. I'm Emily Passy. With me today is Josh Haugan. He is Sector Manager for Greco's North America Oil and Gas Group based in Houston. I want to start off by thanking you, Josh, for joining us today to talk about energy ESG.
No, thank you, Emily, and thank you, Hart Energy. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. So ESG has become such a buzzword within the past year or so, especially among oil and gas operators looking to improve their balance sheet and further their access to capital. However, for today's discussion on energy ESG, I wanted to hear from the service side and also explore what opportunities and technologies are being developed in the field to improve operations. But first, Josh, can you start our discussion off by telling us more about Aggreko and the company's approach to ESG in regards to the oil and gas sector?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. So at Aggreko, we work around the clock, making sure you get the electricity, heating, and cooling you need whenever and however you need it, all powered by our trademark passion, unrivaled international experience, and local knowledge. When it comes to Agreko's approach to ESG, we are constantly adapting to make sure our focus on a sustainable future is in the forefront of our strategy. Aggreko is committed to ensuring that our success also brings long-term social and economic benefits to the communities and countries where we operate. We always have worked to minimize our environmental impact, but environmental preservation is now critical. So we are constantly reviewing our environmental strategy. Our equipment is designed to function in all environments. With meticulous design and use of innovative technology, we manage all of our operations in such a manner to ensure minimal negative impact on our people, our neighbors, and the environment in which we operate. The nature of our services we provide mean we are often powering critical services on which local economies and communities depend. We have responsibility to listen to the needs of local people and, where possible, work with them to make a lasting difference. Health and safety has always been and will always be our number one priority. Our people have the right to return home safely each day. Our social priorities consist of pretty much of ensuring the health and safety of our people and others at work, retaining, recruiting, and developing local people, engaging with local communities, and working in partnership to make difference and provide ongoing career and personal development. If I were to categorize that as 1 and 2, our third pillar for governance priorities would probably consist of promoting equal opportunities and inclusive culture, ensuring we operate with integrity and honesty always, and making sure that we are in compliance with laws and regulations. But probably what most people are interested in is our recent announcement to a commitment on net zero. So by 2030, pretty much the 3 pillars or priorities revolve around reducing diesel fuel used in customer solutions by at least 50%, reducing local air quality emissions of our solutions by 50%, achieve net zero emissions across our business operations, all wrapping into that 2030 package. And then by 2050 or sooner, Aggreko and the services we provide would be completely net zero.
Well, thanks, Josh, for that overview of Aggreko and your strategy and goals for the future, especially when it comes to emissions. The importance of ESG reporting and setting these goals and sustainability targets has skyrocketed in the past year. This has even led some companies to successfully complete capital raisings tied to their sustainability goals. With that in mind, what can an operator do in the field, Josh, or in their operations to boost its ESG scorecard?
That's a good question. So one thing I'm seeing more and more is the implementation or implementing and measuring how ESG impacts. I believe it was Hart Energy that recently did a write-up mentioning the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, the SASB, and it publishing industry-specific accounting standards to help companies navigate topics relevant to their business. From the standpoint of measuring environmental impact, some of the topics covered in those standards for oil and gas and E&P sectors included greenhouse gas emissions, air quality, water management, and biodiversity. To align with the industry standards, producers could focus their sustainability efforts where they have the greatest impact on these metrics. So reducing energy requirements, pretty much regarding around emissions, specifically operators can ensure maximum system effectiveness and efficiency of thermal assets. So in that article that Hart did, I read that according to the EPA, 1 kilowatt hour of electricity generates approximately 1.6 pounds of GHG emissions. So operators can minimize their carbon footprint by regulating power usage, which is near and dear to our heart at Aggreko. Some of the other ideas and tactics that could be implemented is reducing emissions from daily production and utilize alternative fuels such as flare gas to power, biofuels, fuel cells, waste heat, or CHP. You could drive to improve local emissions and air quality with air quality controls. That could be utilizing engines that are Tier 4 or Stage 5 engines or SCRs. Refrigerant emissions and noise pollution using custom-built acoustic enclosures, high-performance isolation and attenuation systems to reduce just ambient noise in general. Lastly, operators can connect with accreditation organizations to minimize aspects of their day-to-day operations, like we implemented in our Northern European operations, certified to Carbon Trust standards and achieve the ISO 5001 accreditation.
Thanks for that, Josh. And kind of as a follow-up, and you were talking about just then of the example that you just gave. Where does Aggreko come in? How does Aggreko help, or how does Aggreko help oil and gas operators achieve sustainability targets, improve their overall ESG ratings? I wonder with that, could you go into more detail about the technologies that Aggreko has that can help operators?
The nice thing about the list that I just gave is nearly everything or nearly any solution that I briefly proposed is a solution that Aggreko can help upstream and midstream and even some downstream operators achieve. So the battery and solar thermal hybrid, CHP and right sizing of electricity, that's something that we do with our customers on a day-to-day basis. The flare gas to power, utilizing biofuels and fuel cells along with the CHP or waste heat. Again, it's something that we do globally around the world every day. So some of the things I didn't mention that we can help operators with is in regards to the digitization or information that we can provide. Digitization, we use our remote monitoring service to anticipate problems and help you and other customers stay ahead of the game, meaning you get the best from our people and our equipment real time, all the time. Along the lines of the alternative fuels, our customers really are no longer limited to diesel being their first or only choice of fuel. In fact, in many parts of the world, it's not even an option. One of the fuels we've helped customers switch to is natural gas, whether it be CNG, LNG, or propane. By tapping into this clean or efficient fuel, you'll reduce your need to take power from the grid when local utility can't meet your demands. We've also adapted generators to run on biodiesel and non-standard gases, so we can use the best and lowest cost fuel available. Some of these fuels are like HVO, hydrotreated vegetable oil, or biofuel, or even hydrogen, which is becoming more and more of a topic that more people want to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Hydrogen is something you're seeing more and more recently. I guess are you saying like in the field, you're seeing operators potentially, or are they now powering their operations through hydrogen in some examples or something?
It's a really good question. So using hydrogen for power has been around for, it's nothing new. It's a particular technology that's been utilized for some time now, but the ways in which that it can be implemented, more and more people are exploring, and the investment to use is becoming greater. And I think that's where you're going to see a lot of it in the future, is people understanding and recognizing the opportunities of where alternative fuels like hydrogen can be used, especially when it comes to temporary power or even primary power. How can people efficiently and effectively cut their cost and a lot of their emissions by utilizing these really cool new, not necessarily new, alternative fuels?
Yeah, I guess new maybe to some people, but like the availability or just the attractiveness might be new more recently. Yep.
That's the kicker. There's not a lot of hydrogen fill stations just around the corner, so it's it's something that it's a technology that, again, like we said, it's been around for a while, but definitely needs more attention, needs infrastructure, needs capital to build it out. But it's viable and it's useful.
That kind of leads me to my last question. As we wrap up this discussion, I wanted to get your final thoughts on ESG. And within the past years, we've discussed more and more companies are setting ESG targets and emission goals, including Greco. And Josh, in closing, what is your outlook for future ESG developments in the oil patch? I know we just talked about alternative fuels, but I don't know if you can expand on that further.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to put on my future looking hat, um, ESG definitely isn't going away. Um, I would say we're looking into the future and predicting an outlook. What's really going to be interesting, especially in our space, the temporary utility space, is looking at the opportunity to do carbon capture as a service. So instead of um, investing in large facilities that do a great job of pulling carbon from the air, what would it be like to have a smaller scale and mobile technology that people can utilize for as long as they need it, for as long as the emission emitting source is there, and move it around and see where it can go.
Well, thank you so much, Josh. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your expertise and your outlook with us. I wish you and Aggreko all the best in the future, and I hope to speak again soon.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much, Emily, and thank you, Hart Energy, for the opportunity to share.
Thank you.
For more Hart Energy videos, follow our social media channels.